We are students of Bachelor of English with Communication from Universiti Sultan Zainal Abidin UNIZA. This assignment is for Literature for Language Purposes BIK 20703. Our group members are Nurul Ain Najwa binti Abdul Latif 050253, Siti Sahira Adila binti Cik Zabario 050504, Fatin Nur Aida Aina binti Abdullah 050519, Sharifah Aisyah binti Said Alawi 050241. This assignment prepared for Dr Hanita Hanim binti Ismail, and we are from Band 3B.
We have choose 4 poems which are Love Letter, Tulips, Mad Girl's Love Song, and Two Lovers and Beachcomber by the Real C for this critical review assignment. All this poem was written by Sylvia Plath. So let us begin with who is Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath was an American novelist, short story writer, and a poet. She was born on October 27, 1932 in Boston, Massachusetts, United States. In the writing industry, she used Victoria Locust as her pen name. She wrote poetry from the age of 8, and her first poem appearing in the Boston Traveler. In fact, Plath dedicated her life to write poems and stories. In 1956, Sylvia Plath met and married British poet Ted Hughes. They live together in the United States and moved to London, England. They have a daughter and a son together. The couple then separated in 1962. Sadly, in 1963, Sylvia Plath committed suicide. So, this is the picture of Sylvia Plath.
So now we are going to look at the summary of each poem. The first one is Love Letter. Love Letter was written in 1958 and was published in 1960. It is named Love Letter because it is a letter from a woman who is in love with her lover. The poem expressed the feelings experienced of the speaker by itself. Although her books and poems revolve around thoughts of suicide, yet Love Letter implies a reason for her to live with reflections on marriage and giving birth. She tells the readers she feels like before loving him she was dead and he had brought her to life. He has helped her to live with happiness and save her life. Apart from that, Plath also expressed she felt perfect like a god, all because of his love.
The poems Tulips. Tulips, written in 1961, is a poem by Sylvia Plath that deals with her state of being treated while in a hospital for an appendectomy. She wrote about how a bouquet of tulips she received during that time started to bother her. She called the room she was in at that time as Sick Room Tulips. However, she shortened it into Tulips for this poem. Sylvia Plath used a flower's name, which is tulips, to symbolize the astral life and the heart. From the first line of the poem, the poet's emotional uncertainty and fear can be seen clearly. This is because she suffered a miscarriage weeks earlier, but she felt happy and enjoyed the peacefulness with the white surroundings of the sick room. For her, white represents peace, virginity, winter, and death. She considered herself inconsequential, away from loud noise and dangerous things. However, with the arrival of the tulips, she felt tortured. She never wanted the tulips, as she felt the redness of the tulips pains her, and she believed that she could hear them breathing lightly through the wrapping paper. All she wanted was to lie in her bed, be free and empty.
The third poem is Mad Girl's Love Song. Mad Girl's Love Song was published in 1953, which is 10 years before her death by suicide. She wrote this poem while attending Smith College, and it is described as one of her favorite poems that she had written. It is a love song of despair and lost hope. In this poem, we can see that she only talked about her unrequited love. She wrote this poem before she met Ted Hughes, which is in 1956. So, we know that this poem is not about her husband. It is about her forbidden love for her dead father or one-side love from her. One of the proofs is in line 10. God toppled from the sky, hell's fire feet, exit seraphim, and Satan's men. It means that gods from heaven are pulled apart, and the hell's fire feet, even the angels and devils run away from it. In other words, God does not approve of her forbidden love that leads to everything becomes void.
So let's continue with the last poem, which is Two Lovers and a Beachcomber by the Real Sea. Plath wrote this beautiful poem for her ex-lover. This poem described the downfall of her relationship with her ex-boyfriend. She mentioned a summer house in her poem, whereas she imagined the good times during their relationship. She thought she would spend her life being happy in the summer house with her ex-lover. In this poem, Plath used a melancholic tone as she illustrated herself as a beachcomber. She searched through her memories to find over 30 pieces of her relationship, but realized only a wreck of the aftermath left. Plath believed she could do better in her relationship. She got a reality check after acknowledging the fantasy in her head is just a place for her to run away from this restless world.
So now, here is some similarities of Sylvia Plath's poems. Most of her poetries are based on her life's journey, and the most significant theme is love. In Mad Girl's Love Song, she was in love with her dead father. In Love Letter, she was in love with her husband, while in Two Lovers and a Beachcomber by the Real Sea, she was in love with her ex-lover. Last but not least, in Tulips, she was in love with the peacefulness she had in the sick room. The love theme is conspicuously present in her poetry.
Despite the similarities of the theme between the four poems, some differences bring various meanings of what Plath tried to deliver. Although these poems have the same theme, which is love, each poem brings different stories about her life. First of all is Love Letter. Love Letter is a poem made for her husband. In this poem, Plath expressed how she felt like she was reborn after she met her husband. Next is Tulips. Tulips brought a meaning of love towards peacefulness. When she was admitted due to her miscarriage, she felt calm as the interior of her hospital room was full of white walls. Apart from that, Two Lovers and a Beachcomber by the Real Sea tried to express her feelings toward her ex-lover. She wrote this poem with the images she created on her head. Last but not least is Mad Girl's Love Song. These poems refer to her love for her father. Regardless of knowing that loving her father was a sin, she insisted that she does not have to go to hell since she did not take any action towards her forbidden love.
The differences between these four poems continue with how Plath felt when she wrote the poems. From what we can see, she was happy when she wrote Love Letter. She was madly in love with her husband as they live happily together with their two kids. This is where she mentioned how her husband had changed her life. But that does not conclude the whole poem since there were signs where her husband was cheating on her in London. For the next poem, Tulips, she looked for peacefulness or serenity after her miscarriage. Plath found what presented peace, virginity, winter, and death. Hence, she felt happy and calm, staying in her sick room full of whites. But things started to change when she received a bouquet of tulips. The redness of the tulips triggered her anxiety as it represented pains to her. Different from Two Lovers and a Beachcomber by the Real Sea, she expressed her disappointment for her ex-lover through this poem. This poem shows her sad feelings, where she kept on thinking of how life would be if she did not lose her ex-lover. Even though she knew she could not turn back time, but her fantasy kept on jiggling on her head. The poem ends where Plath realized she had to get a reality check to continue living as usual. Last but not least, for Mad Girl's Love Song, she felt complicated when she wrote this poem as it described how she felt sinful for having feelings for her own father. She faced a conflict within herself, which one side of her told her she loved her father, yet on the other hand, she said that it was a sin. But what hurt her the most is her father her son, leaving her alone in this world.
To conclude, most of her works are based on her life. She kept a journal of her life since she was 11. Plath's life was painful. However, throughout it all, she continued to write. To sum it up, her words are great to listen to because her words are deep meaning and a true story. So, we can relate of her words to her thinking and her life journey. Thank you for listening.